In this video, I'm going to show installing a free version of Macrium Reflect Backup for the purposes of making an image backup on a computer prior to making a configuration change that you're uncertain about, and you might want to back up and erase that effort. So Macrium Reflect Backup has a free edition for personal use. They also have a free edition for business use. I don't recollect how they distinguish between those. In this event, I'm going to be using Macrium Reflect Backup for a temporary purpose. And I do have my own license for Macrium Reflect Backup, and I often sell it to clients when that's going to be used as an ongoing backup. But this purpose or function is not going to be an ongoing use of the product, and that's where I justify using the free version. So I've got a computer here that I'm preparing for a chiropractor's office. I'm needing to install Microsoft SQL Server Express on it, which I have not done before. So I want to make an image backup of the computer as it sits right now, so that if I don't like the way that the SQL Server Express installation goes, I can back up to this point. So this is a technique that I occasionally use as I'm configuring new computers when I think there might be a step coming up that I might not like the way it goes and I might want to back up. So I'm actually going to be making an image backup to the local hard drive, what is now referred to as the C drive. I'm going to split that drive and partition part of it as a backup partition. So here I'm kind of eating up some of the primary drive space. This computer has an M.2 NVMe drive, so it's very fast. So it's going to be able to do that image backup very quickly. That's not really a good way of doing a backup for ongoing purposes, because one of the purposes of doing backups, whether they're image backups or data backups, is to be able to recover if that original drive goes bad. But here I'm going to be making the image backup onto the same drive. And I'm choosing to do it that way because I know it operates so fast and I have plenty of free space now. But once I go to install this computer in my client's office, I'm going to remove that backup partition so that we can use the entire drive space for the function of this Windows 10 Pro computer that's going to be used as a dedicated server. So let's switch over to the desktop screen for that computer. Now I have Macrium Reflect Backup on a USB drive and on one of my other computers here, and I typically would just copy that over, but in this instance, for demonstration purposes, I'm going to download it. So you can see how to do that. So I'm opening Microsoft Edge. That's the only browser that's installed in this computer, and I don't think I'm going to install any other browsers. I'm going to click in the address bar and type google.com, just because that's my favorite search engine. And then I'll type Macrium Reflect. There it is at the top of the search results. I press the down arrow key to highlight that and then press enter. And then I'm looking for the appropriate search result. This one up here, Macrium.com Reflect Free. That sounds like a good choice. There's Macrium Reflect. So this top one looks like a fine choice for me. So I'll click on that. And then we have a choice here, home use or business use. Now, this is free edition, home use, business use. So they do allow the free edition for business use. And if we come across a convenient way to see the difference there, or what their restrictions are, we can point that out. I don't quite see it easily there. Now, I'm actually going to use home use because the business use free edition, at least in the past, required you to put in an email address. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to be receiving emails prompting me to, won't you buy this? Because this is a temporary use on this computer. So the home use version has the same functionality, but I don't have to put in an email. At least I didn't used to have to put in an email. Here I've got a screen, please enter an email, optional, it says optional, to register or download. Well, let's go back. I'm going to close that. Let's go to the business use, see if it says optional. See, the word optional is not there. Please enter an email to register or download. So I'm not going to do that. Now, I am a business, yes, but their purpose for wanting an email address, if you're using it free for business, I don't think really is related to what I'm doing in this instance. And I do have a license for Macrium Reflect, so they know me. They have communication with me already. So I'm not going to enter that. It says we will not use this to communicate with you until you have indicated your preferences. We will never sell or pass on your details to any third parties, and you can unsubscribe at any time. I believe that. I would trust them for that, but I'm still not going to put in my email address. Thank you for downloading. So down here in the bottom left corner, I see that downloading. When it finishes, I'll click to launch it. Now, I normally, when I download anything, I'll copy it to a different folder rather than leaving it in the downloads folder. But that's just me and the way I organize things. So for the purposes of this video, showing you how to do this, I'm just going to open it from here and do the installation. So open file. I clicked on open file. By the way, I'm recording this live. I'm not live streaming it onto YouTube. Now that's a distinction that I use to say that I'm recording it live, intending not to do any editing, so that I can show you the real experience. I'm a real technician doing work. If I make mistakes or have struggles in a place, you'll see what they are. My intention is to not edit this. So here we have a choice, select installation package. There's a drop down and there's the only choice in there is free. Download locations and options. This is going to save it to the downloads folder. That's fine. Run the installer directly after downloading. That's fine. So then I'll click on download. So it looks like it's going to start actually downloading the file now. So that looks like it's going to go pretty quick. Many of my videos will be live streaming onto YouTube, so it's broadcasting real time. My intention is for most of my videos to be done that way. I do this live recording when I think I might want to pause if there's going to be a long process. And a couple other reasons for this. Now, here we have the user account control window. Do you want to allow this app to make changes? I'll click yes. And now we've got a next button to extract the setup files and begin installing Reflect. So I click next on that. I've got a preparing to install message. Time for a drink of water. Now we've got welcome to the Macrium Reflect Free Edition Setup Wizard. I'll click next. Click to accept the terms and the license agreement and click next. What free edition license do you require? Now this is an interesting thing here because if I had selected the business use version, it would have forced me to put in an email address, and then it would have downloaded the same exact installation. I think. I'm pretty sure of that. And the evidence of that is right here, because right here they're saying, well, which do you want, home or commercial? Because they're thinking at this point I might have selected the business use. and therefore they're actually downloading the same version. I haven't been able to see any difference between the commercial version and the home version, except some features aren't available, such as when you pay for the license, whether it's home use or business use, you can then have emails sent to you in relation to whether a backup is successful or not. So here I've selected home. I'll click next, and there's a check mark for register. I'm going to remove that check mark and click next. Install desktop shortcut. I'm not going to do that because I'll wind up uninstalling this before I install the computer at the client's office. And actually, I'm probably going to install a commercial license version on this when it's ready to install at their office. Click next and then install. Pretty sure their current server has the commercial version already, meaning they already have a license. Click the finish button, launch now. I'm going to remove that check mark for launch now and then click finish. I'll click this close button and then close this browser. Now I mentioned earlier that I'm going to create a separate partition to store the backup image. So I'll come down to Windows Explorer, also known as File Explorer, and show you that the C drive, I'll right click on that and choose properties. See that's 953 gigabytes. That's essentially, we call it 1 terabyte. I'm going to split that maybe in half, a little less than half, so that we have a separate partition for storing the backup image. So I'll cancel that, then right click on this PC, left click on manage. The left hand panel, I'll click on disk management. On this C drive right here, the 953, I'll right click on that and choose shrink volume. It's querying the volume for available shrink. By default, it gives me approximately half. And for my purposes here, that's fine. I'm just going to accept that and click the shrink button. Sometimes I'll make it less than half or more than half, depending upon where the computer's going and whether I want to keep using that partition for backups, which again is not a great idea, because if that entire drive goes bad, well, your backup's gone. So here we've got the new space. It's unallocated. I'll right click in that area and then choose new simple volume. Click next. Here it's showing the maximum size. I could scale it down if I wanted to, but there's no point for doing that. Click next. I like to assign the drive letter of M for Macrium, and then click next. For the volume label, I like to change the name of that, Macrium Backups. And there's this check mark for perform a quick format. That's fine. I'll click next and then click finish. And it's done formatting. It was just that quick. Now I can close this computer management window, and I see down here that the Macrium Backups partition now exists. Keep in mind, I have not paused this video. I have not done any editing. It is that quick to do. I'll right click in the blank area, choose new folder, and call that Macrium Backups. So I'm actually going to store the backup file inside a folder called Macrium Backups, which is on a drive that is named Macrium Backups. I spelled that wrong. So I could say that I spelled that wrong intentionally so I can show you how to change the name of a drive. I could, but I won't. So I'll right click on Macrium, I don't know how to pronounce that. So I right clicked on that and then choose rename. And then that just highlights this text in here. Now, just to demonstrate a different method, I'll click out of there. Well, let's cancel that. And let's see, can I just single left click in there? No, it doesn't do that. It will do that for files and folders. So if you're renaming a drive, you do have to right click and then choose rename, or use one of the other methods that are available. So I'm going to arrow over to that spelling error, backspace over the U, right arrow once, type a U. So now I have Macrium spelled correctly. I pressed enter, then it wants me to confirm or provide permission. I'll click continue. So that was fun, yeah. Now the C drive, if I right click on it and choose properties, you'll see it's much less than 1 terabyte. It's about half of that. Now let's go do a backup. So I'll press the Windows key and then type reflect, because remember I told it not to put an icon on the desktop. So by typing the first part of the word reflect, it has shown me Macrium Reflect in the search results. Single left click on that, answer yes to the user account control, and this is showing me my one and only drive that's in this computer, which is a M.2 NVMe drive. And this section up here, interestingly, gives me no obvious clue that that is an NVMe drive. See, if I would have just seen that without knowing ahead, I would have thought with the WDC, I think that's Western Digital Corporation, I would have thought that this was a spinning drive. There's no spinning drive in that computer. So what we do now is we're going to image this disk, but I don't want to include this M drive in the image. So I'm going to remove this check mark and then click on image this disk. And it shows us this panel here with check marks on all of the partitions except for that M drive partition. Now we choose a destination. I'm going to click this ellipsis button, which lets me browse through the computer, expand this PC, and then expand the M drive by clicking on that greater than symbol next to the M drive. And then single left click on Macrium Backups, click OK. So now in this destination field, it indicates M:\Macrium Backups. By default, it's going to use the image ID as the file name, and that's pretty cryptic. I like to be a little more user-friendly. So I'll call this Clark Server. Clark indicates to me the name of my client in this situation. And then click Next. Then here we have a template for the backup plan, and I don't really need to do this. I just want to do one full backup. And I don't care about purge setting, so I'm just going to click Next. And retain 12 images, differential. Actually, it took that default plan, didn't it? Yeah, because that's full. Oh, all right. What I'm going to do is remove differential. I just want to do full backups. And keep 12 backups. Yeah, I'll accept that. Next. And then click Finish. Now it gives me the choice of running this backup now and saving the backup. I'm going to let it save the backup. It's going to be called My Backup. So if I do another full image backup after I've made some changes, then it'll be much quicker and easier to run it. And I want to go ahead and run it now. So I'll click OK. And here it's off and running. So this is backing up from an NVMe drive to a partition on the same NVMe drive on a computer that basically doesn't have anything more than Windows 10 Pro on it. Over here we have a time estimate remaining 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, basically. So again, this is no editing, live real time, and I don't even have a need to pause this. When I do these live recordings and I'm not live streaming, part of the intention behind that is if I come across some situation where I need to pause the recording, I can do that without actually editing. And one of the reasons for that is I might get a call from a client that I might need to pause, still trying to show the full real experience of doing this kind of work. Most of the videos that I want to do for this channel is going to be where I'm providing computer support free to somebody utilizing Zoom and connecting remotely to their computers to help with whatever they need. And at the end of this video, I'll be showing you the email address for how you can request a session like that if you'd like help with something. So since we're on the subject of backups, one of the things you might like help with is how to back up your computer. Lots of different ways that could be done. And the method that's best for you is going to depend upon your circumstances. So here that backup is complete. It tells us it took a total of 1 minute 51 seconds. And click OK, and then click Close, and then we'll close Macrium Reflect. And now I'm ready to move on to my next step. So this video is just going to be showing how to do an image backup before doing something with your computer that you're thinking you might do it wrong. You might want to revert back to the state that it is right now. Of course, other ways to do that is you could uninstall whatever you installed, or you could deactivate, or use various other methods to try to undo what you experimented with. But the most assured way of restoring it back to a point is this method, using an image backup. So now, if you are interested in getting a free computer support session with me, the way to do that is to send an email to the address that's on your screen right now, DougBetts@LiveWindowsTraining.com. Give me an idea in the email what you'd like help with. And you know what? I was thinking that I probably should start giving this extra piece of information when I'm making this pitch. If you'd like to get an idea of how those sessions go, what you can do is go into YouTube and go to the search field. Here I'm going to YouTube. Click up here in the search field. And type the name of my channel, which is LiveWindowsTraining-DougBetts, with no spaces in all of that. And then press enter. And that should get you to a screen that looks like this, where there's one item with the circle. That's my channel icon. And then these are some recent videos that'll show up here. And if you scroll down, you'll see more. But I think it's better to actually click on my channel icon. And then in here, you'll see past live streams. Now, I do some live streams where I'm solo. My intention is that most of my live streams, there'll be somebody with me that I'm helping. So in these past live streams, you'll see the live streams. These are uploads, meaning the videos that I do, like this one, where I'm recording it live, but I'm not live streaming it to YouTube. So I record it live and then I upload it later. And then if you click on videos right here, you can then, this is the easiest place, I think, to look for thumbnails where I'm not alone. There's a thumbnail under my mouse arrow there where there's another person. There's a whole bunch of people. And here's another person. And then here's another person. So this way you can look through these thumbnails and find any thumbnail where there's somebody else besides me. And that is a support session. So you can get the idea of what a support session looks like. So back to here with the email address, and that email, give me an idea in the body of the email what you'd like to have help with, and we'll put it together. So I hope this video was useful to you. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.